What's going on, everybody? This is Cameron with My Dude Reviews, the channel where we review and react to the popular things that you love for the first time ever. This is the first installment of the diet and fitness section of this channel, and we'll be kicking things off with the famous chicken and broccoli diet. The chicken and broccoli diet has been used by many athletes and movie stars to cut body fat percentage in a very short amount of time, leading up to things like a photo shoot, a shirtless movie scene, or if they're competing on stage. It's usually done in a very short amount of time, usually between like 7 and 14 days, in some extreme cases, usually like an entire month. What makes this diet so effective for athletes are the macros. Fat levels are very low, carbohydrates are basically non-existent, and protein levels are absurdly high. This forces the body to use what it currently has stored on it to function, as well as preserving the muscle mass and strength with all the protein that you're going to be taking in. This is pretty difficult to do because during cutting seasons, it's almost expected that you're going to lose some kind of muscle mass that you put on during your bulking season. However, due to the extremely high amounts of protein in this diet, that's not going to really be a factor for this challenge, or at least it shouldn't be. We're going to find out in the end. Another thing worth noting is I will be doing this with my buddy David. We will both be getting a full body scan at the very beginning of this challenge, and we'll be getting a full body scan at the very end of this challenge. This gives a full body composition of how much fat we have, where we have it, lean muscle mass, skeletal muscle mass, that's probably the same thing, whatever. Water weight, all that stuff. All these factors are going to be measured before and upon completion of this challenge. What's great about this is David and I have very different body types. I'm on the taller side and have like a painfully hard time putting on weight as well as keeping it on. David has a very hard time of getting rid of the weight and keeping it off. This challenge should be interesting for both of us because we have different risks associated with it, meaning, like, for me, I could lose my muscle mass that I already have now while going through this challenge, and for David, he could potentially not even lose any of the excess weight that he is pursuing to lose. But we're not going to drag on with this anymore. We're just going to jump right into this. This is day one of the challenge. Morning everyone, this is day 1 of 7 of the chicken and broccoli diet. Got a little bit of existing definition already, but we're going to see how this whole thing turns out and what kind of results we can get from it. As the diet implies, you can only eat chicken and broccoli for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When it comes to hydration and seasoning, it can't contain any sugars, carbohydrates, fats, extra calories. It can't contain any of this extra stuff that's going to negatively contribute to this diet. To keep it as simple as possible, all I drank was water for 7 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just chicken, broccoli, and water. When it came to like seasoning and condiments and all that stuff, again, I kept it like really simple, not because I hate myself or anything, because I'm a very simple guy. All I really used to like give it any more flavor was a little bit of like salt and pepper, some mustard, and some hot sauce. But when you're picking out your condiments, if you choose to do this challenge, you have to make sure that you're keeping an eye on those things that we mentioned before, the sugars, fats, carbohydrates, and calories. I started out by figuring out how many macros I needed in order to do this challenge. And so I started comparing the contents of each bag of chicken and broccoli. And my total calorie count actually came out to be 1,940. 1,820 of which was from chicken and 120 was coming from broccoli. This is my daily intake requirement for this challenge. At first, this may seem like a lot to be consuming for like a quote-unquote weight loss program. However, my average calorie count with the active lifestyle that I currently live right now, I'm usually sitting around like 3,300, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but I'm usually a good amount over 3,000 every single day. So this was going to be a bit of a challenge for me. So much so that I had to double check it to make sure that I did it correctly, like I did my math right. And I went to a couple other videos that showed like what their macro count was. Perfect example, an inspiration for this video was the video that Buff Dudes put out. These guys are much larger than I am, and their calorie counts for the day were just over 2,200. So I knew that, like, okay, I'm not that far off in this case. All right, it's meal 1 of the chicken and broccoli diet. as you imagine, is just chicken and broccoli. I actually forgot to put seasoning on this thing, so I already messed up, and this is going to probably be terrible after probably the first or second day, but I'm for it. The Friday I started, I bought the first 6 days worth of food that I would be needing for this challenge, and it came out to be just under $40. $40 for 6 days worth of food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 6 days under $40. Like that you're normally spending like $30-40 for like a single pizza at Domino's, like a large pizza with like a drink or something when you get to like taxes, delivery fees, and tips. So for 6 whole days for 3 meals a day, that was pretty incredible, and I was very happy about that. But for the next half of the challenge, we're gonna be talking physical training. All right, just got to the gym, waiting on my buddy David. My buddy David, like I mentioned before, he's gonna be doing this with me. We're gonna get 2 results from 2 different people. Today's workout's gonna be mainly like chest and triceps oriented. We might throw in like a little bit of like legs, and at the end of every workout that we're gonna be doing this week, we're gonna be throwing in some sets of abs. So as of right now, only had 1 meal starting this out. Haven't had any major like carbs or anything like that this morning. Like I normally start my morning off with like a mass gainer and like some peanut butter toast or like some oatmeal. So now that I'm not really getting that, I feel like I don't have nearly as much energy and focus as I normally do. I feel like I could really go for like a scoop of pre-workout right now. Like I'm not going in with a full tank, so to speak. So this is gonna be quite interesting how this plays out, especially like throughout the week, like as the days progress. But I'm looking forward to it. This will be interesting. It's nice because I got a partner to help keep me motivated and help keep me accountable. So we're just gonna fucking do it, man. And it was after that first workout, I knew the remaining 6.5 days were going to be absolutely miserable. So just got back from the first gym session, and on the drive home, all I could think about was food. The entire time, I felt like I was weak. Like I was maybe functioning at like 80% my maximum potential. I wasn't hungry or anything, but the entire time I just felt like this isn't what I'm capable of. Like I need a boost right now. Like I don't know how to get it, but whether it be like some kind of pre-workout or some kind of like sugar boost or like whatever it was, I just felt like I needed some boost for the entire duration of the workout. I wasn't going for like any PRs or anything. Just some like really basic like chest and tris and some ab circuits and stuff. Wasn't anything absolutely insane or like breaking me, but it was a lot more challenging than I thought this time. Like I said, the entire drive home, all I was thinking about was food. And even though this is literally the second meal that I'm doing a part of this challenge, for whatever reason, I just had an overcoming craving for like a Wendy's Baconator or something that just like had some fat and like had like a lot of carbs and as well as like protein. And like I just wanted something like, I wanted something like that so bad. And it sounds like pathetic to say like this early on in the challenge, but I was literally dreading having to eat chicken and broccoli because how I remember like how it made me feel this morning. Didn't really give me any energy at all. It just kind of like made my hunger go away briefly, and I just didn't feel like I had any energy at all. And I wanted something that would honestly like make you feel like for a little bit, but then afterwards I'd be like, oh yes, just put me into like a food coma or something, just knock me out. Here I am, day 1, already complaining about how much this sucks. So we will see how much worse this gets tonight, going into day 2. And I want to say I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not. Morning. This is day 2 of the chicken and broccoli challenge. Not gonna lie, it's getting pretty bland. Getting pretty tired of it already. I already had to start resorting to adding some mustard in there just to add a little bit of extra flavor. There wasn't any like extra sugar, carbs, fat, calories, anything like that included in this, so that makes it good to eat. It's getting pretty hard. Not gonna lie, it's getting pretty hard. Walking around, just like watching my daughter eat different kind of foods, watching my wife eat different kinds of foods. It's making me really envious of them and having to eat this plain Crap. Day 2 is here, and I'm starting to experience a constant feeling of hunger. In the past, especially when whenever I was doing my bulking season, I always ate until I was full or like really approaching full. So now I'm putting myself in a position where I'm only allowed to eat what I have already prepared. I can't snack on anything. I've never really been a big snacker to begin with, but I'm leaving every meal not feeling fully like satisfied, you know, like I'm still feeling hungry at the end of every meal. All right, so workout number 2 is in the books for day 2. Kind of the same thing as yesterday. Feel very, very weak going into the gym, feeling like I don't have like nearly as much energy as I could have. To make a good comparison, it feels like I went and ran like 3 or 5 miles before the workout, waited like a half hour to an hour without eating anything to replenish my energy, and then getting right back into the gym to lift heavy weight. Like, had plenty of time to catch my breath, lower my heart rate all the way down, but never had the opportunity to actually like regain the energy levels that I once had and that I would want to have going into a workout kind of like that. So overall, it's a pretty crappy feeling, especially when you're like feel like you're getting lightheaded when you're doing just like lat pull downs or bicep curls or whatever it is. So it's not the best feeling in the world, but I'm starting to adapt a little bit better. I am still constantly feeling hungry a lot, but I'm about to walk in my house right now, kill this second meal, and we're just gonna keep on pressing with this challenge. And it was right about here that I started to learn some other things about this challenge that aren't often talked about or mentioned in a lot of these types of videos. So before I started this challenge, I did a little bit of research. I didn't go like super in depth with like the macros and like what potential like side effects you might be experiencing when doing this kind of program. And I really wish I had, because one thing I did not know were some of the side effects, such as constant headaches. So I don't know, I mean, I'm not like a Jeff Nippert or like an Athlete X or like a more plates, more dates kind of guy who knows all this kind of information about like health and fitness. I'm just kind of like a bro science kind of dude. But this kind of sucks, honestly. Like, I was not expecting to be experiencing headaches pretty much all day just by changing up a diet like this. I mean, I drink water all day. I'm literally pounding water all day. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, or the lack of nutrients that I was receiving before that I'm no longer getting now. If that has anything to do with it, I imagine it does. But yeah, just a little thing that if someone else is willing to try this out, take a little mental note of that and get some ibuprofen. I've always been the kind of person who's had like cardio type or oriented exercise, so they just generally come fairly easy. I don't want to say easy, but like they're easier for me to do and perform. I think it's just kind of like built into like my genetics and like how I'm structured and whatnot. But things like CrossFit, high intensity interval training, swimming, running, cycling, all these things, like I can take a break for like months, sometimes like a year or more of a break, and I can usually perform pretty well just jumping right back into it. And then it usually takes a very short amount of time for me to like kind of get back to where I was and start like exceeding my previous like records or standards or whatever it was. Generally speaking, it comes easier to me than something like weightlifting. Weightlifting I have a really hard time with, not because I always make it challenging, but in terms of like putting on muscle and maintaining it, it's very, very difficult for me to do. Like, it just seems like I'm just built to be like this 6'1", 130, 140 pound like triathlon guy or like marathon runner who could just like run for days, cycle and swim for days, but will blow over like as soon as the winds reach like 15 miles an hour or something. Like, it's like what my body always wants me to be. But it's that reason I try to focus on my weaker areas that go against my genetics, like increasing and maintaining overall strength, which usually doesn't coincide very well with the other types of training for like high heart rate training like swimming, cycling, and CrossFit and all that kind of stuff. So I was a bit nervous to see how my body would handle this kind of training while in the lap pool, while having no carbs in my system to help supply me with additional energy while I'm in the pool. All right, so we just wrapped up with some pool PT. Got together with a bunch of people from work. They want to do some laps in the pool, throw in some calisthenics and some other stuff like that. It's day 3 right now. I already had breakfast. This is right before lunch, and I still have about at least another hour and a half before I can even eat my lunch. So feeling even more weak now. It's just getting a little bit progressively worse as the days go by, but it's definitely doable. When I finished my pool session, I mean, it wasn't like a complete smoke session or anything, but I have been feeling pretty nauseous lately, and my headache's starting to come back. So, just, one event at a time. So day 4 comes around, and to my surprise, I'm already seeing very visible results. All right, we're about halfway done with day 4 right now. I feel like my body's slowly starting to acclimate to this now. The headaches have pretty much gone away and everything. Still fairly hungry all the time. That maintains to be a struggle, or that continues to be a struggle. But we're seeing some good progress already. Body fat around the lower sections already starting to clear up a little bit. I have a little bit more of a lift from my pecs, not so much like fat underneath it, but I'm starting to see a little bit more definition now. I've noticed I have lost a little bit off my little love handles area, and overall things are looking just a little bit more defined all around. So, loving the progress so far. It's moments like this that start reminding you of why you're doing this in the first place and help give you that push to kind of keep on going. I can't tell you how hard it was for me to not snack on something like during the day, like at any point, or not to cheat and eat like a breaded chicken patty or something, or like from some fast food chain. I vividly remember how it took every like molecule of my being to watch my wife and daughter eat some delicious Culvers right in front of me. And then when they were done, I had to pick up all of my daughter's like leftover French fries, put them into a bag, walk them over into the kitchen, completely out of sight from everyone, and put them in the garbage. I was still starving after my meal, and I had these delicious, like perfectly salted French fries, just the way I like them, and I had to put them in the trash. No one would have seen it. I would have had no witnesses. But for the sake of this challenge, and the results that I have seen in the mirror already at day 4, I knew like, I'm not going to ruin this right now. As much as I hate what I'm doing, I am not going to ruin this right now. And if you choose to embark on some kind of like fitness challenge like this as well, expect your loved ones or your friends or your family to be doing this kind of shit as well. Like they are going to make your life hell by intentionally eating the foods that you love right in front of you. And if you're doing the challenge right, you're not going to do a thing about it. You're just going to eat what you've already prepared. All right, I've talked a lot about the challenges that come from the diet at this point, but I haven't spent much focus on the actual physical activity of it. The diet itself is important, yes, but it's literally only half the equation. If you want this diet to be successful, you need to be exercising diligently. I'm sure you've heard some feel-good advice from someone that dieting and walking or simple stretching will be sufficient, and that may be true to a certain extent, but you will miss out on massive progress if you're not actually training your body. Your body isn't meant to survive off of chicken and broccoli alone, which is why you're doing this challenge for 7 days only. You don't want to cheat yourself out of amazing results because you simply want to take it easy on your fitness. Your body may burn more calories and fat with an elevated heart rate from cardio in the moment, but you will burn far more throughout the course of the day repairing your muscle from strength training. This is why David and I chose to primarily focus on weight training for this challenge. While weight training, it's important to focus on those muscle contractions and knowing what weight you should be using. If I have a set number of reps or sets in my head that I want to do, I pick the weight based off the assumption that I may or may not be able to successfully reach those numbers. I don't want to pursue a set of 15 and upon completion feel like I had 3 to 6 more reps left in me. I want to pursue 15 knowing full well I may only achieve 13 or 14. I want my whole body to struggle. And if you're performing exercises needing a spotter, use them. Do 2 or 3 more reps while having them assist your movement to really finish off that muscle group. I often find myself making silly gym rules like if my right hand can still touch my right shoulder, I didn't work my biceps hard enough. Or if I can walk up and down the stairs just fine, I didn't hit legs hard enough. I'm not saying this needs to be you as well, but what I am saying is your time in the gym needs to be focused and very well spent. You want your body in a situation where it is recovering from what you just put it through throughout the course of the day. If you're looking for the biggest takeaway from this fitness segment, it's this. The carbs and fat stored on your body are what's fueling you and your workouts throughout these 7 days. The more you use them, the less you will have at the end of the week. All right, how's it going, everyone? We are wrapping up day 6 right now. It's been one hell of a journey so far. Right now, I'm just prepping my meals for tomorrow. Wasn't able to cook all of them all at once. So every 2 nights or so is when I'm usually prepping my stuff for the upcoming days. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to do this for day 5, and it's been a little while since I've done a little video check-in for you guys, but I'm very excited for this thing to be over tomorrow. I did notice that some of the progress, like some of the I guess in this case you can call them gains, even though they're technically the exact opposite. They're losses. They've slowed down a good amount. The day-to-day like progression isn't as noticeable as it was for like days 1, 2, and 3. Like days 4, 5, and now 6, it's slowed down substantially. It's not as much progress as it was like in the very, very beginning. But you know, I'm for it, and that's kind of to be expected, you know. So you're kind of expected to get like some kind of beginner gains, just like with any kind of like fitness program, like that initial shock of your body trying to adapt to the circumstances that it's being presented with. And I think that's just my body adapting to this diet real quick. It would explain why like the headaches went away at like day 4. I'm still kind of tired throughout the day. Working out is still, it's not as easy as it was before, but I mean, I'm still getting it done. I'm still putting in that work, you know. But it probably around like day 5 or so, 5 or 6, things just start getting a little bit easier. Like you start functioning off of the little energy that you have stored. At least that's what it feels like to me. Like it's not as noticeable as a difference, or the difference isn't as noticeable anymore, which is kind of cool. But I mean, at the same time, like there's consequences to that. You know, you're probably not going to get the same kind of results as you were like days 1, 2, and 3 as you are 4, 5, 6, and now leading into 7. So it's just something to be mindful of. And you know, you can't have everything super fast. You can't have like all those beginner gains, and you can't maintain that for a while. Like you can't build your fitness plan around like, oh, I gained this much weight in this amount of time, so that means if I keep doing this for X amount of time, I'm going to gain this much. Like that's not how it works. And with me starting at such a low body fat percentage already, not quite single digits, I didn't have as much to like give or to burn already. I'm interested to see what David's results are going to be, because he's going to be getting his full body composition spreadsheet completed tomorrow as well. And yeah, we have a little bit different body types, but I'm curious to see like if his results are similar to mine, if they're much better than mine, or if they're a little bit less than mine. So this will be pretty interesting, but yeah, just stay tuned for that. All right, just wrapped up with the final workout of day 7. Feeling pretty good. As always, pretty hungry right now, but I just wrapped up with I'm running a little bit low on time. My dumb cat knocked over a glass this morning, shattered all over the floor, so that cut a substantial amount into my gym time. So to make up for it, I did a 30-minute 2-part ab circuit, and it kicked my pretty good. So we're done with the workouts now. We're gonna finish up with all this chicken and broccoli, and tonight, actually no, before tonight, we're gonna go get our results, and then we're gonna go, big brain moment, we're gonna start comparing the data between like the before and after. I'm gonna take either tonight or probably I'll wait till tomorrow morning to wait for my body to be like fully recovered and everything like that. No like post-workout pump or anything like that. So it's Friday now. Saturday afternoon, I'm gonna take the after pictures, and yeah, I'm gonna start throwing this video together for you guys. Looking forward to it. Day 7 arrives. Let me tell you, that was one of the best experiences I have had all year. We are officially done the chicken and broccoli challenge. I never thought something like completing a measly 7-day diet would prove to be so difficult and result in this level of overall satisfaction. It was the best feeling ever to have a normal breakfast in the morning after my family for the first time in a week, and actually being able to eat enough and not still feel starving afterwards. It's the morning after day 7, and this is the best feeling in the world, having breakfast with my family right now with an actual normal breakfast. No more chicken and broccoli. But don't worry, I still made sure to take all my after pictures and to get one final weigh-in to see where I actually was after completing the entire challenge. After I got David's full body scan data, and after a brief quick trip to Wendy's to get a Baconator, I began to compare the data. But before I show you the data, I need to tell you that I did run into a kind of hiccup while getting my final results. You see, pandemics suck. Especially when a new variant comes out after things started slowly going back to normal, and then the facilities that you're using before start really like restricting access on the hours that you can go and who can go when. So instead of me being able to get my results Friday afternoon or evening, my window of opportunity was restricted to Thursday right after lunch. And the only other opportunity I would have had were to get my results on Monday morning, which that's exceeding the limitations of what we set forth in this challenge. And that would have been several more days I would have had to complete this challenge, or just, it just wouldn't work, you know? I would rather get the results from constant, like I would rather under-promise certain results by getting my measurements taken on day 6 than to give inaccurate results on day like 9 or 10. And because of this very last minute scheduling, I wasn't able to fully optimize on the body scanner. I had a 10-minute notice to get over there to get all of my measurements done and everything. But this was literally like 45 minutes after I'd just eaten my meal for lunch. David and I just did a workout right before lunch too, because of our conflicting schedules, so we wanted to get our workout in that afternoon. I did not use the restroom before I went in there, and I was definitely drinking lots of water leading up to that event. All of this should have been avoided 2 hours prior before doing the full body scan. Despite all of that, despite going in knowing I am not going to get the fully optimized or the fully optimal results that I should be displaying right now because of the timing of all this, I was still absolutely blown away with the progression that I made in just 6 days. Here's the entire data sheet prior to starting the challenge. You can see the different values of weight and mass I started out with up top in the body composition analysis section. Feel free to pause anytime to further analyze if you like. Beneath that, we have our muscle fat analysis section displaying the weight of the skeletal muscles and the body fat mass in comparison with total weight. Beneath that, we have the obesity analysis with traditional BMI measurements and body fat percentage. This large section is the segmental lean analysis section, which basically tells you the leanness of each segment of your body in pounds and percent. The ECW-TBW means extracellular water to total body water. The bottommost section, body composition history, is a record of all your scans with a focus on weight, skeletal muscle, body fat percentage, and extracellular water to total body water measurements. The top right corner seems to be mostly targeting fat, which with the body fat, lean body mass control, segmental fat, and visceral fat sections. And lastly, we have our basal metabolic rate, which determines how many calories are needed to keep your body functioning at rest, aka your metabolism. So the data sheet on the left is the data sheet from before the challenge, while the data sheet on the right is during day 6, because COVID sucks and I couldn't get day 7. From the top, we can see a decrease in 1.5 pounds of total body water. Dry lean mass dropped 0.3 pounds, and body fat mass dropped 4.2 pounds. That's over 4 pounds of pure body fat gone in 6 days. To kind of put that in perspective, imagine holding just over 4 potatoes in your hand, because a potato is roughly 1 pound each, right? Roughly. I don't know, elementary school logic. Imagine holding 4 potatoes in your hands and have that being just pure fat. That's how much came off just in 6 days. Down below we have total weigh-in, which dropped 5.8 pounds. Skeletal muscle mass dropped 0.2 pounds, and again, total body fat dropped 4.2 pounds. Next up is the obesity analysis with everyone's favorite body mass index, decreasing 0.7 points, and total percent body fat decreasing from 13.5% to 11.6%, nearly a full 2%. And for segmental lean mass, we can compare to see exactly where the weight was and where it came off of. The ECW/TBW dropped 0.008 points. Going back up to the top, we're now looking at the segmental fat analysis, which shows how much fat was in each location. We can see each area lost fat, with my trunk alone shedding 2.6 pounds of fat. Basal metabolic rate, or metabolism, dropped from a minimum of 1921 calories needed daily if I was on bed rest to 1904 calories. And visceral fat level dropped 1 point. Pretty mind-blowing results for such a short period of time. Not to mention all the other factors that were negatively affecting the results, like uniform weight, lunch still digesting, not going to the bathroom beforehand, and the fact I had gone, and the fact I had to get this done an entire day early. Really not optimized, but from the data that we see from what we had, it's pretty mind-blowing. But what about David's results? Unlike me, David was able to get his results on time day 7, so let's take a look. Alright, same thing as before. Picture quality isn't as good as before, so bear with me. David's total body water actually increased 2 pounds, while also increasing his dry lean mass by 2.6 pounds. Now get this. David lost 7.5 pounds of pure body fat in just 7 days. That's absolutely insane. 7.5 pounds of pure body fat. Overall, David lost a total of 4.8 pounds of total body weight, but keep in mind he also added some lean muscle mass and some water as well. Skeletal muscle increased by 1.3 pounds, BMI dropped 0.8 points, Body fat percentage dropped a whole 3.3%. A bunch of individual body part stats. ECW, TBW increased 0.004 points. We see David lost over a pound of fat in each leg and 3.8 pounds in his trunk. His metabolism increased from 1539 to 1563 calorie minimum for a day of bed rest, and his visceral fat level decreased 2 whole points. Two different people with different body types and lifestyles achieved very similar results with some minor differences. Now, there are probably a lot of people who are thinking these results aren't all that great because I was hoping to lose like 10 or 15 pounds in a week, Cameron. Like that, 4 pounds, 5 pounds, that's not that much. There's so many other diets that work so much better. Keep this in mind. Weight loss programs that work in this amount of time that have those kind of weight loss numbers are usually associated with a lot of loss of muscle as well. It's a lot easier to look like you're in much better shape when you retain the muscle that you have, but like your body is almost like vacuum packed at that point because of pure body fat is being shed at that point while you keep all of your muscle there. I'm not saying it isn't possible to lose like 10 pounds or even like 15 pounds of weight while you're doing this challenge, as I'm sure it's been done by like some incredible athletes. But I want to show you what the effects of losing just over 4 pounds of pure body fat and 2 pounds of water in a week can look like while maintaining all of your existing muscle strength. Check out these before and after shots. Hey everyone, if you're still here and you made it this far, I just want to say thank you so much for showing a desire in my experience with my first ever diet challenge. I must say it was a lot harder than I originally expected. And I think that's just because I've never held myself to such a high standard of like my food consumption. Each day I got more excited for the rest, and for the short time that this took place, the overall cost, and what's needed in the gym, I definitely think the results are worth it. Especially if you're looking for a diet to kickstart a new healthy way of eating to continue the journey you embarked on. By the way, another little bit of information nobody seems to be talking about is coming off the diet. I wanted to snack like crazy when I came off this diet. I'd just eat everything in sight after that day 7 because I went from eating what was only prepared in front of me and strictly adhering to just that to I can eat whatever I want now. I'm off the diet. And that's usually to be expected when you come into a lot of these diets like this, because when you go into a diet, you have to go off the diet. It was very, very difficult for me controlling myself from eating myself to death and completely unraveling all the hard work that I had just went through. Be mindful of the temptations that you're going to have. Establish a good self-control post-diet, but a reward from time to time won't hurt. I'm just saying, like, it's going to be hard when you come off this diet to not completely regain everything that you just lost. So you have some discipline, reward yourself a little bit from time to time, and hopefully this might, kind of like me, impact and influence your future, not even like future diet, your future. I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that you should continue this diet indefinitely. Your body's not designed to do it. Nobody's is. But if you want to adopt certain aspects of it, like incorporating other vegetables like cauliflower or even other meats or even tofu. I actually spoke with one of my longtime vegan friends about this whole diet thing, like the results afterwards, and she seemed really interested in it and was wondering if it would even be possible with tofu. It's not quite the same as chicken, but in terms of the major objectives of the diet being minimal carbs, low fat, and high protein, they're all being met. It wouldn't be too far out of the question to consider something like this for a future video. Speaking of which, if you have any suggestions or future ideas or fitness routines that you'd like to see realistic results from, not just like a whole bunch of people getting like beginner gains or beginner results from something, someone who's actually been like maintaining an active lifestyle for over like nearly 15 years now, let me know. Drop a comment down below, hit subscribe, hit that like button. It really, really helps out my channel by getting all of this content out to as many people as possible. I love doing all this stuff, and showing that kind of support really helps me out and allows me to create more content like this for the future. My name is Cam with My Do Reviews, Chicken and Broccoli Diet, and I will see you at the next review.